Ashtotar Shata Shri Srimad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajanacharya. Ashtotar Shata Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Vrinda Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shamakun, Radha Kun, Giri Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki jai, Mathura Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Lakshmi Devi ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Yamuna Mayi ki jai, Ganga Mayi ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to the Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, Text 40. Pīta-aṁśuke.
Pīta-aṁśuke.
pṛthu-nitambini.
pṛthu-nitambini.
Visphurantyā.
Visphurantyā.
kāñcyā. alibhiḥ. virutayā.
vana-mālayā.
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ. vinatā-suta. aṁse. vinyasta-hastam. itareṇa. dhunānam. abjam. pīta-aṁśuke pṛthu-nitambini visphurantyā.
pīta-aṁśuke pṛthu-nitambini visphurantyā.
kāñcyālibhir virutayā vana-mālayā.
kāñcyālibhir virutayā vana-mālayā.
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ vinatā-sutāṁse.
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ vinatā-sutāṁse.
vinyasta-hastam itareṇa dhunānam abjam.
vinyasta-hastam itareṇa dhunānam abjam.
pīta-aṁśuke pṛthu-nitambini visphurantyā.
pīta-aṁśuke pṛthu-nitambini visphurantyā.
kāñcyālibhir virutayā vana-mālayā.
kāñcyālibhir virutayā vana-mālayā.
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ vinatā-sutāṁse.
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ vinatā-sutāṁse.
vinyasta-hastam itareṇa dhunānam abjam.
vinyasta-hastam itareṇa dhunānam abjam.
pīta-aṁśuke pṛthu-nitambini visphurantyā.
pīta-aṁśuke pṛthu-nitambini visphurantyā.
kāñcyālibhir virutayā vana-mālayā.
kāñcyālibhir virutayā vana-mālayā.
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ vinatā-sutāṁse.
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ vinatā-sutāṁse.
vinyasta-hastam itareṇa dhunānam abjam.
vinyasta-hastam itareṇa dhunānam abjam. pīta-aṁśuke pṛthu-nitambini visphurantyā.
pīta-aṁśuke pṛthu-nitambini visphurantyā.
kāñcyālibhir virutayā vana-mālayā.
kāñcyālibhir virutayā vana-mālayā.
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ vinatā-sutāṁse.
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ vinatā-sutāṁse.
vinyasta-hastam itareṇa dhunānam abjam.
vinyasta-hastam itareṇa dhunānam abjam. pīta-aṁśuke pṛthu-nitambini visphurantyā.
pīta-aṁśuke pṛthu-nitambini visphurantyā.
kāñcyālibhir virutayā vana-mālayā.
kāñcyālibhir virutayā vana-mālayā.
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ vinatā-sutāṁse
valgu-prakoṣṭha-valayaṁ vinatā-sutāṁse
vinyasta-hastam itareṇa dhunānam abjam
vinyasta-hastam itareṇa dhunānam abjam
pīta-aṁśuke,
pīta-aṁśuke,
covered with a yellow cloth,
covered with a yellow cloth,
pṛthu-nitambini,
pṛthu-nitambini,
on his large hips,
on his large hips,
visphurantyā,
visphurantyā,
shining brightly,
shining brightly,
kāñcyā,
with
a girdle,
alibhiḥ,
alibhiḥ, by the bees,
virutayā,
humming, vana-mālayā,
vana-mālayā,
with the garland of fresh flowers, and valgu, lovely, prakoṣṭha, wrists, valayam, bracelets, vinatā-suta, of Garuḍa, the son of vinatā, aṁse, on the shoulder, vinyasta, rested, hastam, one hand, itareṇa, with another hand, dhunānam, being twirled, abjam, a lotus flower. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He was adorned with a girdle that shone brightly on the yellow cloth covering his large hips, and he wore a garland of fresh flowers, which was distinguished by humming bees. His lovely wrists were graced with bracelets, and he rested one of his hands on the shoulder of Garuḍa, his carrier, and twirled a lotus with another hand. Purport. Here is a full description of the personality of Godhead as personally experienced by the sages. The Lord's personal body was covered with yellow robes, and his waist was thin. In Vaikuntha, whenever there is a flower garland on the chest of the personality of Godhead, or any one of his associates, it is described that the humming bees are there. All these features were very beautiful and attractive for the devotees. One of the Lord's hands rested on his carrier Garuḍa, and in another hand he twirled a lotus flower. These are personal characteristics of the personality of Godhead, Narayana. Om Gana Tirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Shakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mayam Dadaki Bhavanantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Takpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Krishna Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padans Bhagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Satyakanchana Gauranavi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamani Nidhye Vanchakalpatyurjascha Kripa Sindhu Devicha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Dhanavir Goswami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauranga Charane So we are hearing the description of a full description of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as experienced by the sages in Vaikuntha. And we often meet people on book distribution who are interested in spirituality, but they're interested in an impersonal idea of spirituality. So they think everything is all one, everything is consciousness, and that consciousness is infinite and unlimited, and I don't actually know, and they don't know, because if you ask them to explain what they're talking about, they can't, and they just start talking about something else. But the people are interested in some vague idea of spirituality with some impersonal idea in there. But here we're hearing that the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person, and he's got all of these personal characteristics. And then people get confused, just like this guy, he wanted the refund on the sapta yesterday. He was a nice Asian boy we met at a college. He was going to a seminar, like a live streamed seminar of who's that
Sadhguru.
rascal? It wasn't Sadhguru actually. It was, they
Ravi
call him
Shankar.
Guru Dev on advertising. Yeah, Ravi Shankar. So he was going to some waste of time thing given by Ravi Shankar, and after he walked out, we were showing him the Sapta, and he happily took it and gave 59 really quickly. And then he said, "I have a question. What is what is?" He said, "There's some question about like how does one find like a Guru Dev or something like that, because they advertise this ugly Shankar as Guru Dev." And so I told him, "Here, do you have your phone?" And then I put BBKS media app on his phone.
Yeah.
Told him just to listen to these. But he wanted to return the books because I guess he read online somewhere. He had some idea that Srila Prabhupada made some sort of racist statements, or made some racist statements, or supported Hitler or something like this. But I told him I've read all of the books of Srila Prabhupada and listened to maybe most or many of his lectures, and I'm practicing everything that he's teaching. And I told him that he definitely doesn't support Hitler, and then just took it to the Bhagavad Gita. I was telling him a spiritual master, he's just repeating what's in line with Krishna. He's just repeating what Krishna says, and nowhere in the Bhagavad Gita does Krishna give any idea that you can use to say that a Holocaust totally absorbed in the bodily conception of life is some good and productive idea. So the author that you're saying supports that definitely doesn't support that, because he's just repeating what Krishna is saying. So anyways, we were talking about that, but one of his main hang-ups was he was saying, I'm into Advaita and this like impersonal idea. So I told him, if you want to learn Advaita, you have to learn it from the Advaita Acharya. You have to learn it from Krishna or his representatives, who will actually teach you the real idea of this oneness or this impersonal feature. And so he was upset that with the idea that God could be just a person, because him and everyone else in this material world without Prabhupada's books just has an idea of a person as this mundane example that we see every day, mundane personalities, or people, a material body. That's their idea of a person. And that's very disappointing, actually. If we think that's all that a person is, it's very disappointing. How can you be very enthusiastic to worship such a thing, a mundane person? Or how can you be very attracted to a mundane person? Just like, unfortunately, people are so much attracted to mundane persons due to Maya illusion. But we see it's very disappointing. Like, we're hearing the description of the Lord's form, and it's so ecstatic. And he's got all these different features that sound so amazing. But for some reason, people, instead of giving more time to hear about the characteristics of the Lord, people think they should be very enthusiastic to hear about and look at the forms of and think about mundane personalities in this material world. But what is that? We're hearing the Lord has large hips and a thin waist, and that's very attractive. But someone's thinking, but I'm more attracted to the large hips and the thin waist in the material world. But what is that? The hips, waist, and other characteristics in the material world? There's literally nothing nice about a material body besides the illusion that Maya makes for someone's mind and senses to be attracted and think that it's nice. But literally every element of a material body is completely disgusting at the end of the day. The nails, they're gross. You find a nail anywhere, it's really nasty. Even the skin, that's like Maya's like main weapon. As long as the skin is all there intact, she can throw that illusory potency, and you think, this is a nice thing here. But even that, the best thing that it's got going, the skin, is so gross. If you see it when it's not on the body, after like a day or two, it turns like green and cracks, and it's like really something nasty. Really weird. There was some horror movie about a guy who would wear the skins of different people because he was crazy, and it was gross. It was really nasty looking. It was completely scary. But that's like the main thing that's making it look good. So then past the skin, you got fat and blood and muscle. And if any of the skin's missing and you see any of that stuff, it's instantly horrifying. You think it's the nicest. Someone's thinking it's the nicest thing ever. But the second any of that covering is removed, it becomes the scariest thing ever, and you have to have a hazmat suit to deal with it, and it becomes a safety hazard from a medical standpoint. Just the second like a little the millimeter of something is removed. And Vijay Prabhu, he tells this story how somebody was an emergency technician or whatever, who goes to the scene of crashes and whatnot, and this person, he quit his job and became so disturbed because he went to the scene of some car crash. There was a very beautiful lady who was driving the car, like a model or something, and you could see her face from outside the car door, and she looks very beautiful. Then he opens the car and she's like split in half, and so all the beauty is now exposed, and he was so disturbed at this crazy juxtaposition of this is something that's it's looking beautiful for a second, and then I see what it actually is, and it's so terrifying. He was so disturbed he quit the job and was like mortified. So that's the beauty of the material world. But when we hear the beauty of the real thing, the spiritual world where everything's coming from, this material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. Like the Christians say, man is made in God's image. So these bodies and everything in the material world is a reflection of the form and qualities and characteristics of the spiritual world and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we see where it's all coming from, he's actually very beautiful. He's the most beautiful personality. So when people are thinking of personalities and they hear that the Supreme Lord is a person, they become disappointed, thinking, okay, it's another one of these temporary, nasty bodies or temporary nasty minds that is always, antagonizing me, or other personalities always try to exploit me, so this won't be so nice. But the Supreme Lord is Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Ananta Rupam. He has unlimited spiritual forms, actually. It's not limited to just this one form or just that. He comes in so many different forms that we see in all these BBT pictures. He comes in different times and places for different purposes. And so if people can just get some glimpse of that this personality is not like any of the mundane personalities they ever heard of, then they're actually satisfied and have, like this person yesterday, he was arguing and upset that the Lord couldn't be a person. But once he understood that actually he's not a person like this material world, his form is Satchit Ananda, eternal, full of bliss, full of knowledge. He's a Yovanamcha, eternally youthful, and he's got Ananta Rupam, unlimited forms. He's appearing in unlimited different, so he's not limited in any way. He has a form, and he's personal, and he's a personality, but that personality is not like anything you've ever heard of. He's completely unlimited. Then he was satisfied, and he was like, okay, well, I've got a meeting to go to now. After all, he was trying to return the books, but after all the arguing, he was like, okay, well, thank you. I hope you have a good day, and hopefully, he'll read them. So people have so many misconceptions, but if they just hear, a little snippet, like I didn't talk to that person very much, or for that long, or about many points, but if they just hear a little snippet of Srila Prabhupada's books, one purport, or like, who is it? Shruti Prabhu recalls when he would go into Prabhupada's office, and time again, Srila Prabhupada would tell him, if someone just reads one page, or just one of these books, their life is perfect. They'll go back to Godhead. And then he would come in again, and Srila Prabhupada said, if someone just reads one page of these books, they'll go back to Godhead. And Shruti Prabhu was thinking, okay, like he said this last time, and I'm still not reading, actually. And then he comes in again, another time, Srila Prabhupada said, if they just read one sentence. And then even another time, he comes in, Srila Prabhupada said, if they just read one word in the books, they'll go back to Godhead. So, like that, even these books are not like any books we've ever had access to in the material world. It looks like paper and a rectangle and ink and all, but it's not. Because even if someone just touches the book, they get so much benefit. Even if they just look at the book, they're benefited. And at some point, they'll come back to these books, even if they just touched it or looked at it. Because devotional service, what's the verse in Bhagavad Gita? Krishna explains it's never... someone's devotional service is eternal. There's no loss or diminution on this path. I should know it. I'm sorry.
Loss and diminution.
Yeah. Exposed. But anyway, Krishna says there's no loss or diminution on this path, and even just a little advancement can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. In Bhagavad Gita 2:40, Nehabi kramanashosti pratyavayo navidyate swapam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So just a little advancement, if they just grabbed one of Prabhupada's books when the devotee came up to them, there's no loss or diminution, and they'll come back to that devotional service. People it's an eternal process. There's no loss. So if they saw the Bhagavatam, they're going to see the Bhagavatam again. And we see that happen. A lot of the people who take Bhagavatams are people who have seen the Srimad Bhagavatam at some point in the past. They're saying, oh, I saw the devotees, back in like the 1970s, and then we get so enthusiastic to make sure that they take the Bhagavatam, because sometimes we'll tell them, hey, you might have forgotten Krishna for some time, but Krishna never forgot you, and now he's back in the form of the Bhagavatam, and this is all set up so you can just take the Srimad Bhagavatam right now. You have to take it. And we get really enthusiastic when they had some previous contact like that. So, like that, people are so much benefited by these books, which aren't in any way material. By coming in contact with them, they become purified. And if they read them, so many of their misconceptions that are, limiting the progress of their life can be eradicated just by reading even a small part of the books. So, Chandanacharya Prabhu asked me to speak about book distribution, but I feel fun speaking about book distribution to great book distributors, so it's like, what am I going to say? But, since we're all going out, in the same marathon and on some of the same TSKP teams, then maybe I can throw in something that will be enlivening or ecstatic. Okay, one thing I can think of is that recently, Shantanu Prabhu and I, we were at a temple for a bogus so-called incarnation who's not God, but they think some ugly old man is God from South India, and they put a statue of him in the temple, and he looks like bogus. He makes a face like, it looks like someone just like killed his dog or something. He's like a sad old man, and they're like, yes, that is the supreme blissful being, that's the supreme ever youthful blissful being, this sad wrinkly old guy. So we went in the temple there, and we got permission from one of them, and they don't want, at all these temples, they don't want you to get any money for anything. And I think that's like part of their management. They don't ask people for like donations and stuff like that. It's like the comfy temple. You can come and not feel pressured to do anything. You just go and you look at the ugly statue and like feel spiritual about it, and then you leave. So you leave more contaminated than when you got there. But not for the book distributors, because there's no contamination on book distribution. If one is fully engaged, devotional service itself is not contaminating, it's purifying. So if one's fully engaged in preaching, like people ask that question all the time, especially new bhaktas, say, if we're going out on book distribution, we're not supposed to associate with materialists and, women and people who are overly attached to women and all these things. But the thing is, if they are distributing the books, that question's been answered so many times by Srila Prabhupada and his representatives. If they're distributing the books, there's no contamination actually. It's a purifying activity. Those people are taking our books. We're not taking their books like that. And then sometimes people further ask that question. They're saying, yeah, but sometimes we have to hear them out, and they're explaining all this Mayavad garbage and other weird stuff. Are we getting contaminated? And there's an example in the Panchatantra, and also Srila Prabhupada just sometimes would say this story of a monkey who is, had some sort of friendly relationship with the crocodile. And the crocodile starts swimming away with the monkey, and the crocodile tells him that, my wife wanted me to bring you back to our home so we can eat your heart. And the monkey tells him, oh, well actually, how unfortunate, I left my heart back on the shore, so just bring me back there, and then I'll come with you, and you all can, have your nice meal. So he brings him back, the monkey jumps off, and the crocodile doesn't see the monkey again. So it's like that, we go in there to the battlefield to give them the books, but we don't give them our heart. We might, give Krishna and our spiritual master our heart by trying our hardest to do whatever it takes to give them the books of Srila Prabhupada, but we don't give the karmis our heart and thus get taken away and devoured by the crocodile of whatever, impersonalism or whatever other weird thing they have going on. So we were at this ugly guy temple. And we told them, okay, we're not going to take any money. We're definitely just giving away for free this huge set of hardcover, fully color printed books. These are all definitely free, and that makes sense. It doesn't make any sense. And we definitely took time to wrap them in a ribbon and stack up all of them just to give them away for free. It's like, but they go, okay. So we had the book table, and they're telling us to do it right in the entrance of the temple, where all the workers would see us and everything. And they tell us like 10 times, we're like, no, we'll just do it outside, even though it's like raining and cold. No, it's definitely better if we stand outside in the cold and the rain. They're like, no, just yeah. So somehow or other, we set up the table outside, and the management people had to come out and like move the shoes off the ground because they didn't want the table by the shoes. So somehow or other, they're thinking we're making this arrangement just to give them for free. But so we're at the table, and after some time, they're watching us the whole time to try to bust us. They keep looking, and whenever they're staring at us, then we have to, someone who might have taken a Bhagavatam or a Sapta, we have to like calm down and just let them take like one, big book for free or something. Maybe we could have done small books for free, but we only had the big books. So we just let them take one book for free and, miss the chance to give them a Bhagavatam because the guy's watching us. But then it was going well, and a lot of Srimad Bhagavatam sets were going out because they would come over, and the guy told us to like stop, preaching or talking to anyone. He said, you just give them the book and let them go. So they come over and we say, do you want the Bhagavatam? And if they like say anything that sounds anything like yeah, we go, okay, I'll bring it to your car. And we just immediately from the table go grab the Bhagavatam and like walk down this hill to their car and then do it there. So after some time, one of the workers there, he came out and he was inquisitive. He's asking all these questions. There's some concern. Is he asking these questions just so he can bust us? But he's asking, so this Bhagavatam, how many volumes is it? And what's it about? What is the Bhagavatam? And he's like looking through all of it, and he's pretty interested. And the more we tell him about it, he goes, oh, wow, that's amazing. So look at the Sanskrit. Wow, and the shlokas are there. And do you know how to say the shlokas? And he's like, the main thing I don't like is a lot of people don't know how to pronounce them. And then we show him the back of the Bhagavatam. Look, there's a whole Sanskrit guide here. He's like blown away. Then we say some of the shlokas. He's like, wow, your shlokams are perfect. So he's getting interested. And then he says, so you're actually giving this thing away for free? We don't want to get busted. So we're like, yeah. We're just going along with it. The thing is, some people are so enthusiastic about these literatures that they sponsor the whole sets of them and all these books. So then, the sponsored ones, we all bring them to these nice temples that you all have for this bogus so-called avatar. We give them out for free, and he's thinking, wow, that's amazing. He's looking really interested. Then we said, yeah, so if you wanted, you could have a set for the temple. And he's like, we really should have a set for the temple here. And so he's wanting his free Bhagavatam set for the temple. And then we told him, but the thing is, actually, we just gave away our last free Bhagavatam set. But just for you, we have one more in the car, but it's not sponsored by anyone. And we're not here taking any money.
Smart.
Would you want to sponsor that Bhagavatam for the temple? And he got so enthusiastic, he's saying, yes, we have to get a Bhagavatam sponsored for this temple right now. How much is it? And we're like, we're not selling these, but it's only $275. And he's so excited. He got like ecstatic, and he starts running up to people like a fanatic, like running up to these moded out homies. And the ugly guy told me to, can you sponsor Srimad Bhagavatam for the temple?
Ecstatic.
Can you sponsor Srimad Bhagavatam for the temple? He's going crazy. And Shantanu Prabhu is talking to this guy and having like this calm, philosophical conversation. Oh yes, Prabhu, and Bhagavatam, so important, and all Dasavatars are explaining. Can you sponsor Srimad Bhagavatam? The guy just runs up to them. I remember seeing your face, you're like, can you sponsor? And so that guy, he bought himself a Bhagavatam for his home and a Bhagavatam for the temple.
Wow.
And
that's crazy.
When that happened, the other workers came out, and some of them were like not happy that we were there, like the ones that were eyeing us the whole time. They're like, what's going on? And but the worker who got it sponsored, he comes up to them, he's like, this man sponsored a Bhagavatam for the temple. And the other worker looks like upset about it at first, but the guy just keeps like talking to him about it. And That guy actually did a lot of preaching. He was showing them the Sanskrit and telling them he said all knowledge, all Vedic knowledge is here in these books. This is the source of it. He's telling them. So he was awesome. He's a really great guy. And then the cherry on top of it was he wanted it somewhere in the temple where everyone can read it. So he's like, come on, we'll bring it inside and we'll get a picture with the god and all of these things. So they bring it inside and they had just put the bogus statue guy to sleep. They turn off the lights and all this and they're like, shh, the guy is sleeping now. And it's all quiet. And the guy just busts in there. He's like, come on, we have to get a picture with the Bhagavatam. Turn the lights on. And they turn on the light and you see the one envious guy. He's like, no, the guy is sleeping. He's so upset. And we cause this whole big scene and wake up it's just a statue, so I don't think it was sleeping in the first place, but we so-called wake him up and their sentiments are all disturbed. So it was really nice. So that was
Did you take a picture with him?
Yeah, we took a picture, but we didn't put it in the group because we didn't want to contaminate everyone with seeing that guy. We made another Photoshop. So
Is that you and Q or that
was me and Shantanu Prabhu. So book distribution is ecstatic, and that was just one story from it. Srimad Bhagavatam distribution is so ecstatic. And there's all those quotes. We could, everyone could just give a class every day just reading Prabhupada's quotes about book distribution, dropping, raining bombs in the form of books into the laps of the conditioned souls. The Bhagavatams are like bombs. And when they explode, people get they get the chance to engage in pure devotional service. It might be there for some time, ticking in their home or someone else's home, but then boom, eventually someone picks it up, reads it, and becomes a devotee. So yeah, it's pretty ecstatic. Are there any comments, questions, other Sankirtan stories from Marathon?
I think that's just a really ecstatic story. It's amazing how there's that verse, Mukham karoti vachalam pangolangayate tegirim kripa taraham vande paramanandam. The mercy of Lord Madhava, he can even turn to a layman, so he can speak very nicely, and someone can climb the mountain, very crippled or whatever. So it's simply how just coming in contact with this spiritual energy, of Lord Chaitanya, how it can completely transform someone. It completely transformed the whole atmosphere. I was listening to these pastimes of Sri Ram Maharaj, these Sankirtan stories. And he was talking about when they were distributing Krishna, and they had 20, 30 devotees just in this one area. And people would just come, and before you knew it, there was just a crowd of watching these 30 devotees just distribute books as if it was a sport or something. Whoever came in, they were just wow. That's awesome. They were just looking around, they're looking at the books, you're looking at they just look so amazed, because it's surcharged with, all this spiritual energy, and you can't make it up when you see it. It's not like you can go out and just even if we were selling spiritual sky, incense or something, you wouldn't see the guy be can you sponsor their incense? Yeah. Can you sponsor their incense? It's you only see this, what to speak of mundane paraphernalia, if we went in the front
sponsor their football hats.
Yeah. Even if we were selling their own paraphernalia at the temple, they wouldn't do that for even their own stuff. What to speak, but they're inspired because of that spiritual energy that comes from Sankirtan. And I always think about it like this, it's almost they when you distribute books and you're really tapped in, everyone becomes paid actors. It's really strange. Everyone just becomes
they want to put on their best, do their best for the Sankirtan activity that's happening, put on the best show.
They're into the books. They're happiest they've ever been. Yeah. It's weird. It's just is that's very wonderful. Here's some money, But anyways, it's just that story is amazing because one of the many stories where, Sankirtan completely, surcharges people with this ecstasy and they become out of character. Almost.
Yeah.
like it's out of their character to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sure the
For
people
sure.
in the temple never saw this guy act like this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it'd be strange if, you know, we just chilling one day and we saw like Shantu just like, you guys, we have to do a bunch of push-ups and get ripped. You know, I'm just saying, like, we need a six-pack. We need, like, Prabhu, you never talked about getting a six-pack ever in your life. Like, why are you so fired up about this? It's very bewildering for everyone. Even for the person distributing the books, the person who's doing it, like the person who's ecstatic, they may even question themselves, like, why am I acting like this?
Yeah.
You know, we get that a lot. Afterward, they're just like what the hell? And then like the person you distribute to, maybe a group of people, and you may distribute to a group of people, and then like there's one person who's super into it, and everybody's like what the hell? Like, you know, like no, don't do it. Like, and then they're like, what? Just getting some books about spiritual. And like, you don't even need, like, you're not spiritual. You know, and it's like, boom. It's just so amazing. It's like so bewildering, so amazing when you see Krishna's energy at work. And when you just see that stuff, it gives you so much faith in Krishna.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, that's like.
No, it's fired up. Sorry, I'm just making a weird face because there's something in my throat. But
No.
I've seen that, especially. Sorry, there's something really in my throat. Especially when people. Sometimes this thing is used as a way to, like, discourage distribution of large quantities of books. It's sorry, let me turn this off for a second. I don't want to see
water. There's water right there.
Okay. Can I like spin out the side really quick?
Get your bowl.
Anyway, sometimes people use that as. Sometimes people use that as a way to like curb big book distribution. Is this like, you have to make a good impression.
Yeah.
They say. So like distributing a whole Bhagavatam or like a lot of books is not good. You know, you're going to be too aggressive about it and make a bad impression.
Yeah.
You know, that's been used since like time immemorial in the movement in different places. But actually I've seen so many times that the best way to make the best impression is that, you know, if you have something really nice and a guest comes to your house and you give them like, instead you give them like the crackers or something, you know, you got a whole sourdough bread. Yeah. But instead they come over and you give them some chips or crackers. You know, it's not that nice. But if you got something really nice and you try to give them the best thing you have, it'll make such a nice impression. And I've seen that, you know, there's so many times where like maybe I hold back or like somebody else does on book distribution, and then the person's not so satisfied. But I've seen so many times if we, you know, push a little extra to try to give them the best thing we have, the Srimad Bhagavatam, they become so satisfied and they're happy that like, you know, you made some attempt to give, you know, you saw that there's something in them that they might be able to take this one wonderful thing. And so, yeah, I've seen that when people distribute the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's makes the best impression. Like I've seen with Mahotsa Prabhu. Sometimes he'll distribute the Bhagavatam to somebody who, you know, they're a complete karmi or a complete crazy person or Mayavadi or whatever, and then they get the Bhagavatam and they become a devotee. Literally, they're instantly transformed. It's a miracle. Like this one guy, he's got a video of this one person at the Indian store who came up to us, and he came up and he was completely insane. He made no sense, and he was speaking all this Mayavad stuff, and he was saying, I am Prajapati Chaitan. I am the avatar for this day and age, and I'm also Durga and Ganesh and Shiva. It was like this weird, crazy white guy. But then Mahotsa Prabhu he got him to take the Bhagavatam. So like, but he didn't give the full price. Maybe he gave like 150 or something. I don't remember. But he gave something under the full price. He took the Bhagavatam, and then instantly after that, he's like, "Thank you. You know, I always love getting Srila Prabhupada's books." You know, he's like a little more sane. And then Mahotsa Prabhu was like, "Okay, and then can you also give like a donation for him?" He like pointed at me, and I was like, "Okay." And he gave like, you know, like 50 more. By the end of it, he covered the whole price of the Bhagavatam. By the end of it, he gave like more than 300. But the thing is, this person, he gave 5 donations within the span of like 3 minutes. Yeah. Somehow or other, it was just a really crazy thing. But each time he gave something, he became more and more sane. And by the end of it, he went from completely insane, you can barely understand what he's saying. By the end of it, he's walking away with the Bhagavatam, and he sounded like the most sober, intellectual, philosophical gentleman. He's walking away with this big box of the Bhagavatam, and he goes, you know, more people need this knowledge because the world is suffering from ignorance, but this is what they really need to hear right here in this box in order to become purified. You know, so I'm not exaggerating, I promise. He said something like really coherent like that as he's walking away. It just sounded like a devotee, you know, speaking on Krishna consciousness. And then another one, just last short story, is this, at one of those yoga festivals, I saw this again with Motsa Prabhu, there's a completely materialistic karmi yoga lady, white lady, just like, you know, average American, like not interested in spiritual life or what to speak of just reading anything philosophical. And, you know, he was preaching to her for a while. It was like 30 minutes because she's wondering, like, why the heck does this person think I'm going to read the Srimad Bhagavatam? It's just like, you know, it doesn't seem like something that this person would do. It's just like a white lady with a family, like, in America. Like, yeah, this completely doesn't seem like someone could be interested in anything spiritual or philosophical. But after 30 minutes, you know, he was really trying, and she gets convinced, and, you know, she goes for it and takes the Bhagavatam. She became a complete devotee. Before that, she was like selling, she was at a so-called spiritual convention, but she was selling like Gatorade. It was like some booth where they sell like the next Propel or Gatorade or whatever to like advertise it. And so she's there making money for that. But after she took the Bhagavatam, the rest of the time, there were 2 other booths for ISKCON temples there. She was only spending time with devotees, taking prasadam, trying to see how she could be like more involved with like those temples there, you know, like being fired up about the book. She was just a devotee after that. Yeah. And before that, she wouldn't have even gone near any of those booths or like cared about a temple or anything. So, yeah, it's cool to see how the Srimad Bhagavatam completely transforms you, making a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization.
Yeah, in that regard, I had this pretty far story at Patel Brothers in Nashville, which is definitely one of the most interesting, like, Patel Brothers. Nashville is like such a strange Patel Brothers. It's like a mix of all kinds of people. But me, Nehemiah, and we were just reading books, and they're mostly Gujaratis at this Patel Brothers, which is also interesting. So this pious lady, really pious Gujarati lady, rich lady, she's like, yeah, I gave $500 to this thing. She supposed to be sending me something, but she never came. She like went inside, came back, and she like gave like he tried to do a Bhagavatam, but she was like, ah. And then like she gave $100, and then all of a sudden she was just like, well, actually, how much is the Bhagavatam? He was like, $275, and she gave it us. So that was cool. But then afterwards, I was like, I want to do a Bhagavatam. So I was just like trying, and then I meet this older guy. He's like 60 or something. No, actually, he said he was about to be 80, but he looked like 60. And he's like, he was basically a humongous ox. Like, I just thought, you know, he seemed cool. He's like, so what do you mean? And then I was like, telling him that, he's like, oh, man, let me tell you something. And then, you know, when they start, you know, trying to put you on a game like that, you know this guy's about to milk my time. So he's just like, there are 3 stages of life. Can you tell me what they are? And I'm just like, you know, and you got to make them feel great. These kind of, I'm like, no, like, please tell me, like, dear guru, you know. And he's just like, the first one is in the youth, when one is enjoying and experiencing and learning from life, learning from mistakes. And the second one is when you're working hard, and then he's like, you know, talking for like 30 minutes. And the last one is, you know, just when you work so hard now, your money does the work for you. He's like, I've done this. I sell books on investment. I make so much money. You know, I teach people. And I was like, oh, you're so great. Like, you know, you're so amazing. Thank you. Like, wow, can you leave a donation? And he's like, and I showed the Bhagavatam. He's like, you know, since you're such a great person, can you give $275? He looked, I'll give you $20. Just after like 30 minutes of talking to him, I was like, thank you so much. But I realized Krishna actually had a plan for him. So I left a really good impression on his ox because I made him feel like I was like his disciple or something. So then he left, and well, basically he was just preaching to people about his greatness, his investments and all his greatness to like random people for like the whole like next hour. And so then I meet this then I just like meet this ox from like, who's like from South America, and I try talking to him. But while I'm talking to him, some extraordinarily pious like couple comes and they just give me $100 just for nothing. And he says, you're doing a very great service. And then I was just like, and then they just kind of, I was like, can I give you a Bhagavatam? And he was like, sure. And they walked to the table, and then, you know, I just like meet this guy because he was ox, and I walk up to them, and I just show the Bhagavatam, and they're like, you know, we're giving these out. This is a very special book. You're nice devotees of Krishna. Could you take this? And they're like, how much is it? I'm like, yeah, it just costs you $275 to give, you know, $200 more. Well, that's $300 right there. And so just easy. They were so happy. They're like, thank you. You're doing great service. Everyone should do this. I dropped the Bhagavatam in the car. And then meanwhile, after that, I meet someone else. This is all gonna tie together, but I meet someone else who's just like Gujarati. Like he seemed cool. He took this self-realization, and he's just like, yeah. So like, I would take this, I would spread this to my people. I was like, can you leave a donation? He was like, I will propagate this amongst my people. I was like, can you leave a donation? He's like, yes, I will give this and propagate this message. I was like, sorry, we're like asking a donation for the books. And he's like, oh. He's like, so you're not going to give this to me for free if I don't give a donation? I was like, no. he's like, I just kind of just take it from his hand. He's like, oh, like, you don't think you're doing such a nice job. I went to Morari Book and they gave me, you know, a whole Bhagavatam for free. And I was like, well, we're brahmacharis. They're grahastas, they work for them. I told them very politely, they work for their money, you know, they inspire. We can't do that, we're just brahmacharis. And some people just get kicked out. The Hindus get kicked out stealing money from brahmacharis.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, and he makes a big scene, you're a bad person. And he walks up into a Tesla, you know. And then he was like getting a little hectic, a little crazy. And as he was escalating, then this ox just comes out of nowhere and just like talks to him. He's like, wait. You know, he's like, they're doing something very nice. He's a good boy. You know, he's like, and he talks to him for like 20 minutes.
Do you know the 3 phases of love?
Yeah. So he's like calming him down. He's actually become pacified. He starts smiling and like talking to him. And while he's pacifying him, the other person who gave $300 comes back. He's like, oh, I found another 100 in my pocket.
Oh, wow.
And he gave me the 100. He was like, thank you again. And he just like walks off. And so the ox pacified the envious person, and the person who was pious came and gave even more money. All because I handled all these situations like really amazingly and didn't like react to I didn't become mad at the puffed up guy, and I was very polite to the guy who was envious. And then Krishna was rewarded with like another $100. And that was just amazing how that all came together. You know, I was just like, Krishna's energy is amazing. You know, so I just thought that was a really awesome experience.
Yeah, it's fired up.
Yeah.
The people who gave the 100 and took the Bhagavatam and then gave another 100, were they preached to by the guy in the beginning?
No, they weren't preached to him at all. But they saw him like yelling. I think that's what inspired them. They saw him being envious, and he just came out of the car and gave another 100. And I was like, wow, that's amazing.
It's fired up.
But I mean, it's just like one of the millions of examples. I just wanted to share that because,
Yeah, Mara said after me and Matsu Prabhu got back from TSKP once, Matsu was saying, Maharaj, we really didn't know what was going to happen. Like once we got up there, because we got kicked out of our event within the first minute. So once we got to our spot, we didn't know what we were going to do. We had like no plan. And Maharaj said, well, that is the plan on book distribution. You get the books and you go out there. And like Krishna does the rest. So something like that. So you just get the books and go out there and give it our all, and Krishna comes through in different ways.
that's a fact.
All right, Srimad Bhagavatam distribution ki
Jai.
jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srimad Prabhupada ki jai.
And that's a good thing you said, Guru Maharaj said that is a plan that you just go out there, because there's so many times you go out there and you just like got your books and you don't even know if you're like Krishna wants you to be at the same spot.
Yeah.
You're just here and you're like, okay. You got
Like
your
I'm
books.
supposed to be here right now?
Yeah, sometimes it's just like whatever.
Am I even allowed to be here right now?
Yeah, and the second time they didn't tell you to go, you just decided to go, and it's like, is this sanctioned by the Lord?
Do I even want to be here right now? And then